This night blooming cirrus with the huge flowers is blooming just on the other side of my fence. They're so pretty. Hi, it's Nell, and I'm at my work table today because I am going to be repotting this Staghorn Fern, and I'm going to tell you why I'm repotting it. You're going to see how I repot it, and you're going to see the mix that I use, the special blend. So stick around. All right, so here is the gorgeous pot that this fern is going into. I got it at Home Goods. It was like an ugly brownish beige, and I sprayed it 3 different colors, and I love it. And of course, it's a resin, a plastic, so light as can be. So I have had this Staghorn Fern for probably about 7, 8 years now, and I haven't repotted it in probably about 5 or 6 years because I used to live in Santa Barbara, California, right near the ocean, and now I live in the desert in Tucson, Arizona. And I was going to mount it on wood or driftwood and hang it, but then I discovered I was going to be moving to the desert, so I just kept it in a pot. So that is what I am doing here, and I wasn't even going to bring the Staghorn Fern because I gave my other 2 away, but I really wanted this pot. And the fern is actually not doing too bad here in the dry old desert, and I've been here almost a year. Oh, and I'll say that this is technically an elkhorn fern. Everybody just tends to call them all Staghorn ferns. They are closely related. This one just has the finer fronds. These are the leaf fronds, and this is the shield frond here, and you never want to remove the shield frond, even though you think, oh my gosh, it's dead and dry. You always want to leave it on here because they get their, their moisture. Besides through their roots, they get it through the, the shield and also through the leaves because they are native to the tropics. So I just want to give it a bigger pot because it's been a while, and also too, I keep it on my patio floor, and it is not that well displayed, so I wanted up a bit. It's just going to make it look better rather than having the fronds on the ground. So that is one of the many reasons why I want to. But also I'm going to do a mix, which is going to be more suited to the desert here, because I don't even know what it's in here, but it's just been in here for so long. It's time. So Staghorn ferns and elkhorn ferns are epiphytes, just like orchids and bromeliads. So they get a lot of rain, a lot of moisture, but it just washes off of them. They don't typically grow in the ground where all that rain could rot them out. So they are subject to rot. So I am blending up a mix that's going to drain well, but because I'm here in the desert, I'm going to give it an extra little something to help it hold a little bit of moisture because it is so dry, and also maybe hopefully create a little bit of humidity around it. I do water the leaves. I just take a watering can and I pour the water over these leaf fronds about every a few days, and that kind of ups the ante on a little bit of moisture here. So the mix that I'm going to use is a succulent mix. It's a local blend, so it has a lot of cocoa fiber in it. I'm also going to use cocoa coir, which is an environmental substitute, or I should say alternative to peat moss or sphagnum moss. And I'm also going to use a good amount of orchid bark because they do grow on other plants. They grow mainly on trees. That's what epiphytes mean. Being an epiphytic plant means you grow on another plant. Oh, it's windy today. I hope we don't blow to Phoenix. So I want to put a good amount of orchid bark in there because it is going to amend the drainage, make sure it drains really well, and it's also going to give it that woody, barky stuff that it loves. Okay, so I have to start by getting some of the mixes in here. This is the orchid bark here, and I have a coffee filter over the drain hole. It has a big old drain hole in it. I didn't have to drill one for a change. Okay, good amount of that. Then this is the succulent and the cactus mix that I buy locally. And then in this bag we actually have the coco coir, which comes in a brick and you soak it. That is the coco coir in there. I'm gonna put a few scoops of that in. And of course, I'm going to put in some good local compost too. Make a rich, beautiful, yet well-draining mix here. Okay. Get that good and mixed up. Okay, that should be about right. There's actually a false bottom on this pot, which starts about there, so I now have the level of the mix up to about there. And I have a knife that's not too sharp, and I'm just gonna go around. It's kind of like taking a cake out of a pan. Ooh. It's so heavy here, it just wants to almost pull over. So I'm anxious to see how the root ball on this looks, because I haven't seen it in a long time. Okay. Hopefully this is going to just pull out. Ah, yes. Oh, there we go. So normally this has been growing in a pot, so it's growing this way. But normally you would see them mounted more this way, and then it would be sort of coming down that way. So there's that shield there, those shield fronds. So mine's just growing a little bit differently. Oops, I've got to build it up a little bit. Okay, so I've built it up a bit big here, a bit higher, I should say, not bigger. And I probably use the most of the orchid bark and the succulent mix, but my succulent mix has a lot of cocoa fiber chips, and it also has big pieces of, I think it's vermiculite. Is it vermiculite? It is pumice, organic cocoa coir chips, and compost. So it's a little bit different. Well, it's actually different than most of them. And then I used a little bit of the compost and the cocoa coir. Okay, I think that is going to be better because I don't want to cover the crown of this at all, because it needs to breathe, because it is epiphytic, so it's used to having a lot of air circulation, or it would definitely prefer that. Okay, I'm just going to get a good amount of the bark in here. And next comes the succulent and cactus mix. All right, so I have the pot and the table all cleaned off so you can get an idea of how it looks, and I tilted it back just a little bit. I didn't want to put any part of the shield underneath the mix, but I have it just about level, just tip back a little bit, so it just shows this beauty off a little bit more. And there's a little bit of a close-up, so you can see I put about an inch of the bark on the top, because that will help to hold the moisture in a bit, but it'll also just allow the water to drain through really well and keep it from getting sopping wet. And it'll also aerate. Things that this fern loves. After I get through filming, I'm going to take the fern over to the side garden, and I'm just going to give it a really good drink and let all the water just go through, but yet wet the mix too. And then I'm going to put it in its spot on the patio. It lives in bright shade on my covered patio because, ooh, this would fry in the desert sun if it even got like half an hour of the desert sun. Half an hour exposure. Oh, and for a mix, you could use something like a succulent mix and moss and orchid bark. You could use that as a mix too. There are some substitutions you can make for the mix that I used, but I will leave some of the options in the blog post. The link will be down below, or you can go to joyousgarden.com. I also just filmed a video about caring for staghorn ferns indoors, but I don't think that's going to post for like a month or so. So stay tuned for that if you're growing one indoors, because you most commonly see them mounted on wood or bark or growing in a moss basket. So I'm watering this, and this is exactly what I want it to do. It's just going in. The water's just going in, but it's just going to drain right out. Just giving it the moisture that it needs. And then I'm also going to, while I'm at it, give the fronds, the leaf fronds and the shield frond a sprinkle too. So I'm really glad that I brought this plant with me after all, because I love how it looks in this pot, and it's going to go right next to my Hoya topiary that's in that tall red pot. So it's going to be a striking combo. So I hope you have found this video to be helpful, and I thank you for all your likes and your subscribes. I have a lot more gardening videos coming your way. And speaking of gardening, let's get out in the garden and make our world a more beautiful place. As always, I thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye.